Hey, good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is May the 19th and I thought I'd do a full walkthrough of all of my gardens. My husband is going to be recording me, so I will be on screen for most of it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, we're going to start in the front garden bed, and since I already did a full tour of this, I explained every plant that I had, so we're going to just go over some of the plants that are in bloom at the moment. Right here I have Agapanthus, and these have been in the ground for about 3 years, and they are really getting a lot of blossoms on them. Back here I have a new hydrangea that I just put in the ground. This is called a Cherry Explosion, and the honeybees seem to love it. Right here we have some king-size salmon strawflower. I planted these from seed and they're starting to get their little flower heads on them. I haven't seen these yet in bloom. Up here the gardenias are starting to fill out. I don't know which variety these are. They were here when we bought the place. I think these are the Radicans. Here I have the blue and white swan columbine, and they're still putting on new buds. I did have 3 here, but I lost one. I think the root system was getting too wet right there. Right here I have the Proven Winners Pugster Amethyst butterfly bush, and it's just about finished with its blooms. It's still putting on a few little new ones here, but I do need to come in here and prune some of these back. I just didn't want to cut these back yet until I did my walkthrough. I have another one down here on this side. This is not in bloom yet, but it's starting to put its little buds on. This is an Aussie Queen tropical hibiscus, and I bring this in the winter time so that it doesn't die back all the way. Right here I have 3 dahlias that I planted from bare root or bare tuber, and I'm not sure what variety these are. They're getting a ton of buds on them. And this is the plant that I don't recall is some type of Marguerite daisy. I think it's an Agaranthemum variety. And then back here, these are Asian Garden Celosias that I planted from seed, and they're starting to put their flower heads on. I don't know if you've seen these before, but they're absolutely beautiful. They kind of flow over. The flower heads will kind of drape over. Right down here, I just planted this as a Walker's Low catmint, and it's supposed to get about 2.5 to 3 feet tall and wide. So I'm hoping it'll fill out this little corner. Right here I have my Let's Dance Skyview hydrangeas, and I'm surprised that they still have flower heads on them. They've been in bloom for a good 5 weeks or so. They've changed color a little bit. They started out a little more blue, and they're getting some pink on them now, a little bit of lavender. Very happy with those. They do get a few hours of afternoon sun as well, and they seem to do fine now that they're starting to get their roots established. Down here I have some Love in a Mist Mulberry Rose. These were, I bought these from Baker's Creek seed, and I planted these in little seed containers back in January or February, and they're starting to get their little flower heads on them. These are the most unique looking they look like little watermelons. In the front here we have the whirling butterfly Gara. These are the white. I love the whimsical look of these. And then down here I have another Pugster amethyst butterfly bush. Over here is a Buddleia Davidii butterfly bush. I do need to prune some of those off as well so that it can flush out with some new flower heads. And back here behind the bird bath is another one of those Buddleia Davidii butterfly bushes. And up here the Natchez crepe myrtles are starting to put their flower heads on, and before long this will be filled with honeybees and bumblebees. We're going to go ahead and look at the bed behind the basketball goal. I haven't showed this one yet, and I don't have this one named either. This bed, I guess I will call it my basketball goal bed. These are some color spectacle dahlias that I planted from tuber, and they've already had their first flush, and they're putting on some new buds. It's kind of looking sparse with the leaves, but I'm hoping that the leaves will fill back out. But the flowers look beautiful. And then back here in this bed, I have a river birch that's a couple of years old, and it's putting on a lot of growth really fast. Down here I have some pink yarrow. I'm not sure which one that is. I think it's vintage rose. And up here I have a jet stream oak leaf hydrangea. I have two in this bed. And this actually is the color that the leaves turn in the fall, so I'm not quite sure why it's turning, the leaves are turning. I don't know if it's the sun or, no, I'm really not sure. Down here I have a lantana. This one's the shrub form, the upright perennial form, and I don't know the variety of this one. And right here's my other oak leaf, the jet stream oak leaf hydrangea. Down here I have some more yarrow. This is the Love Parade yarrow, and it's starting to put some little heads on it. This one didn't bloom last year. I planted it last year from seed. And right here I have a guacamole hosta, and it looks like the snails are probably getting to it. Right here in this corner is a Luna White hardy hibiscus, and it should be blooming in the next couple of weeks. It's filling out really good. Down here I have some, I believe these are the Serendipity allium. There's a weed. And these have been in the ground. This is their second. They've been in the ground 2 full years. And they've never bloomed, so I haven't gotten to see the heads on these yet. Down here I have some Autumn Fire sedum, and these look beautiful. They bloom later in the summer to fall. And over here is, I can't remember the name, it's a Olive Bailey Langdon hosta. I had 2 more over here, but they were getting too much sun and burning, so I moved them to my shade area. I have a hot pink, it's not in bloom yet, but it's budding up. This is a hot pink Confederate rose. I bought this last year at a garden show. It was about 6 inches tall, and by the end of the summer it was probably 6 feet tall. And then it did die back. I didn't realize it died back to the ground, but it did die back to the ground during the winter, and this is how much it's grown back since the spring. We're going to walk over here and show this area. I haven't shown this area yet either. This was probably the first bed that I actually redid around this house. And right here I have 5 limelight hydrangeas, and they don't get full sun, but they do bloom really good. They get a little bit of dappled sun, and they seem to do fine with just that. And we also kind of have a muddy mess right here because this is where we just redid the water line for my woodland garden and my rose garden. So we had to dig a trench all the way out through here, and so it's why it's still, we don't have any grass in this area. But back here, this is a bleeding heart amaranth, and I just bought this at a garden show in a little container, and I didn't know where to put it. It doesn't get full sun, but that might be why it's not super lush. But next year I'll probably buy some of those from seed and plant a bunch of those, because it looks like it's going to be a beautiful plant. And then down here I have some crazy daisy Shasta daisies that I planted from seed last year, and they didn't bloom last year. I think it takes 2 years for them to put a flower head on, and I'm expecting them to maybe bloom this year. Then I have some varieties of hydrangeas down in here that I'm not sure what the names of these are. Just some hostas. And they were like in a Lowe's container without a name, so I'm not sure which hosta these are. Just a different variety. And down here, these are some Spitfire coleus that I planted, propagated actually from plants that I had last year. And I wasn't sure how they would do, but they propagated really easily. I did lose a few of them, but I think they look beautiful right there. Adds a little pop of color. And the lantana are getting massive. I'm afraid that I may have to cut these down quite a bit because it's only May and they're actually outgrowing my pink moly grass behind them. And then the pink dianthus are looking really pretty. I don't know what the variety these are. They were just in an unlabeled container from either Lowe's or Home Depot. And then back here, my white diamond astilbe are looking really good. I have a sneaky root in here. There's another one. Get that out of there. But yeah, this is the first year they bloomed. I planted these last year from a bare root, and they're putting on lots of little flower heads. And then down here I have some Happy Returns Day lilies that are blooming. They actually have been blooming for a while. As you can see, they've already put on their seed heads. And they're not opened yet, but they're getting close to it. These are some agapanthus. I'm not sure if these are the sapphire, but they haven't bloomed yet. I put these in the ground last year, and they were getting really waterlogged from my water fountain here. It was leaking out the side, and I had actually lost a few of these agapanthus that had gotten too waterlogged. So this will be the first year that I'll get to see these flowers on these agapanthus. And then my tick seed is really lush. When I put it in the ground last spring, it was just like in a little tiny quart container. But look how big it's gotten, all of this from one plant. And this right here behind this fountain is a Sem's Beauty oak leaf hydrangea. And this is the very first year it's put any blossoms on. I had this in my woodland garden, and this is the third time I've transplanted it, and it looks like it really likes this place because it's probably quadrupled in size since I moved it. And some more dianthus that looks like I need to prune that back. And then my pink yarrow, I think this is called New Vintage Pink or New Vintage Rose. I'm deadheading. Down here we have the Sweet Memories Gerbera daisies. These have been blooming ever since it warmed up this spring. They just put on new flushes of heads every time one of these die off. It just flushes out with new flower heads. And then we have another white diamond astilbe right here. This is the first year they've bloomed as well because I planted these last spring and they didn't put any flowers on last year. This is a frost-proof gardenia, and it is really exploding with blossoms this year, and they smell wonderful. This has been in the ground for 3 years, probably going on 4. And over here is the same plant, but I've had to actually, this is probably the 3rd one that I've planted in here to replace because it keeps dying, and I haven't figured out the reason, but it's not looking that. I did fertilize it recently, hoping that it comes out of it, because this one looks like it's not doing good either. I've actually replaced the soil. I've tried everything. And back here, I'm not 100% sure if this is a Nico Blue hydrangea or a Penny Mac. I bought one of each variety. I actually bought 2 Nico Blues and a Penny Mac, but I don't recall which one is which. And this has been blooming for quite some time as well. And this right here is the Little Missy Daylily, and it's still putting on new flower heads. It's been blooming for a little while. Already put lots of flowers on. Right here is the Love in a Mist Miss Jekyll. I planted these from seed as well, these from Baker's Creek. It's a mixture of different colors. There's some white back here. And I just think that these little seed heads are so cool. Down here I have Cat's Pajamas Nepeta, and I had a lot of these broken yesterday. The cats, I can't seem to keep my cats out of them. They like to roll in them. And another Cat's Pajamas right here. And right here we have a Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose. This is the type that's edible, and it has a delicious smell to it. This one's just starting to open. Beautiful color. I put this in the ground a couple of months ago. Right here is the Snow White Delight Hardy Hibiscus. It's not blooming yet, but all this growth is from this spring because it died back to the ground. It dies back to the ground every year, but it's really put on a lot of growth. It's a little over 4 feet at the moment. I probably could cut this back to make it branch out a little more, and it might get fuller, but I'll probably go ahead and let these flowers bloom, and then I may cut it down some so that it can flush with some more growth to fill out more. And this right here are the Hoppy or Hopi Red Dye Amaranth. They're supposed to get 4 to 6 feet tall, and I'm not sure if they're going to. I mean, they're already blooming at this height, and that's maybe 18 inches tall. But I'm not sure if it's just been, we've had a lot of rain the last week, and I have lost a few plants to too much rain, but they're looking pretty. We'll show you the back side of this right here. I have some Climbing Phoenix nasturtiums that are finally blooming, and you can see that the leaves are also kind of yellowing, and I'm not quite sure if it's because we've had so much rain or if it's from just not getting quite enough sun. They're in the shade at the moment from this maple tree behind it, but the flowers are very unique looking. There's another one. I can get a picture of that. They're supposed to grow, I believe, 5 to 6 feet, so I'm hoping I'll probably have to train them up this trellis and tie them because it doesn't look like they actually have any wrapping vines, so I'll probably have to tie them as they grow. And the double file Snowflake Viburnum is still putting on a few flower heads. These are the old heads that have already bloomed. These are the variegated jazz hands, Laura Petalum, And you can see they're starting to get their variegation in the leaves. The purple also gets a variegation to it. If I can find one, if you can see the variegation in that. These get about 5 to 6 feet tall. And you can see I haven't pruned them because I do want them to max out with their height. Down here, I just transplanted these from my bed over here by the house. This is called an autumn red. I believe it's called an autumn red daylily. And I actually don't recall buying those. That's not really a color I would have chosen. Not for my back garden bed, but they were getting swallowed up by the lantana, so I dug them up and put them out here. And that's not the color I wanted in that bed anyway to begin with. And right here we have the Lady Gardener rose by David Austin, and it's already flushed out one time this year. It was loaded with flowers, and it's starting to flush out again. It's just opening. My daughter bought me this for Mother's Day, I think 4 years ago. This is the Let's Dance Blue Jangles, and it's already flushed out with its flowers, and so these are starting to die back. But it's a very beautiful color when it was in full bloom, and I need to cut these back. Maybe it'll flush out again. I'm not quite sure. I just put this in the ground a few weeks back, and then some verbena, purple and white verbena. I don't know what the name of this one is. It's not a Proven Winners brand. It's just a brand that came from Lowe's. And right here I have White Flame Salvia that I planted last spring from container. There's 4 of them in here, and if I cut these back, it'll flush out with some more. These are completed their cycle right here, so these are done. But it does still put out little new flower heads, and the bumblebees love this. And this was one of my surprises this year. When I did my first tour back here, I couldn't remember what I had planted. For the life of me, I couldn't remember what daylilies they were. And I don't recall buying this because also, again, it's not really a color I would have chosen. But I looked this up, and I think it's called a Black-Eyed Susan daylily. And it's actually perfect for the nasturtiums behind it. And then this is called a mink toy daylily, and these are a red daylily with a yellow center. So they've already flushed out and they're finished, and I'll put a picture of what these looked like. And my Creme de Cassis dahlia back here is getting ready to open. I just planted this from bare tuber as well. I had another Creme de Cassis down here that was sprouting out. It was actually a transplant that was very huge last year, and it was flushing out and then it just died back, so I think I may have lost that one. And down here I have a Powwow White Echinacea. I bought that from container last fall, and it looks magnificent. And I want to say that it's reseeded because I have some new little growths down here sprouting out, and I can't think of anything else, any other plant that could be. I'm not 100% sure that that's what it is, but I guess we'll see. My Blazing Star Liatris right here that I planted from bare root is also close to opening. This one's close to opening, these back here. And then my Whirling Butterflies Gara. I have 2 different ones here. This is the light pink one, and then I have the pink Belize, but I don't recall planting these here. Maybe I did because they were dying in another bed, and so I just put them here, but honestly don't recall. It was a long hot summer last year. I bought this at a garden show in New Orleans. It's called a flowering maple or an abutilon. Isn't that pretty? It's like a little lantern. Okay everybody, I am going to end this video here and do a part 2. Otherwise this video will be over an hour long. Alright, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great day.